I woke up at 5 a.m. to the soft patter of snow against my bedroom window, and right away I knew the day was going to be rough. Not because of the storm itself. We get plenty of those in Colorado, but because of what had happened the last time I tried to be a decent neighbor in Evergreen Meadows, our quiet little subdivision just outside Denver. My name is Michael Hayes, and I've called this place home for 3 years now. When I first moved in, it felt like the perfect spot. Tidy lawns, friendly waves from porches, kids riding bikes on quiet streets. What I didn't see coming was the iron grip of the Homeowners Association, run by a woman who turned neighborhood rules into her personal kingdom. Her name was Margaret Donnelly, the HOA president. 52 years old, always in a crisp white SUV, with that short, perfectly highlighted bob that somehow stayed flawless even on patrol at dawn. Margaret had a knack for spotting trouble where nobody else did, and she enforced the covenants like they were carved in stone. It started back in mid-January. We'd had 6 inches overnight, the kind of dry, fluffy snow that's easy to move. I'm a systems analyst, usually at my desk by 7, so I was out by 5:30 with my shovel and headlamp, clearing the driveway and the sidewalk in front of my house. Kids would be heading to the bus stop soon, the mail carrier would come through, and nobody needs a broken hip on black ice. It felt like the right thing to do. I was halfway done when headlights swept across the snow. Margaret's SUV pulled up, window sliding down. Even in the dark, I could see that tight-lipped look she got when she caught someone. "Michael," she said, voice cutting through the quiet. "What exactly are you doing?" "Just shoveling the walk before work, Margaret. Trying to keep things safe out here." She checked her dashboard clock. "It's 5:45. You're violating quiet hours. No outdoor maintenance before 7 on weekdays. That includes snow removal." I actually chuckled, thinking she had to be kidding. "It's a shovel, Margaret. Plastic. The only sound is snow on snow. The scraping is disruptive. We've had complaints. The rules are clear. No lawn care, repairs, or snow removal before approved hours." "Complaints? From who?" "The street's dead asleep. That's not your concern. Consider this a warning. Do it again, and you'll be fined." She rolled up the window and drove off. I stood there staring at my half-cleared sidewalk, shovel in hand. It was barely 6. I finished anyway, but the whole thing stuck with me. That night, I dug out the HOA covenants. Sure enough, Section 14, subsection C, no outdoor maintenance, including snow removal, before 7 a.m. weekdays or 8 a.m. weekends. It seemed absurd. The whole reason to clear snow early is so people don't slip before the sun's even up. 2 days later, a certified letter arrived. $50 fine, timestamp photo from her dashboard cam, payment due in 30 days. I called her immediately. "Evergreen Meadows HOA, Margaret speaking." "Margaret, it's Michael Hayes. About this fine for shoveling. You were warned." The board reviewed it and agreed a fine was appropriate, even for a first offense. "But you said warning, and I was trying to help prevent accidents." "Rules are rules, Michael. If you can't manage during approved hours, hire a service. Have a nice day." She hung up. I sat there fuming. Liable if someone fell on uncleared ice, fined if I clear it too early. Catch 22, pure and simple. I requested a hearing, my right under the bylaws. It was set for early February. Meanwhile, another storm dumped 4 inches. I waited until exactly 7, went out, shoveled. By then, 3 neighbors had already slipped on their walks. One older lady, Mrs. Eleanor Grant, fell hard. Her daughter had to drive her to urgent care. Bruised ribs, but it could have been worse. The hearing was in the community center. Margaret presided, flanked by the treasurer, Harold Jenkins, quiet guy, never said much, and Secretary Carol Vance, always nodded along. I laid it out calmly. Early clearing prevents injuries. Shoveling isn't noisy like a blower. Common sense should trump the letter of the rule. Margaret crossed her arms. The rule exists to protect residents' peace. One exception leads to chaos. Fine stands. $50 by the 15th. I asked about Eleanor, the mail carrier who'd slipped, the kids dodging ice patches. She brushed it off, separate violations, to be handled separately. So fine people for not clearing, fine them for clearing early. Perfect logic. The board voted unanimously to uphold it. I paid, didn't want escalating fees, but the anger simmered. Then came the big one. February 5th. 10 inches overnight. Heavy wet stuff. Forecast for more. I stayed in bed until 7 sharp. My driveway was buried, the sidewalk gone under white. I shoveled slowly, taking 90 minutes on the drive alone. By 8:30, coffee in hand, I watched neighbors struggle. Margaret's place got professional service. Plow truck, blowers, done fast. I sipped and decided, from now on, rules to the letter, nothing extra. I noticed something in the covenants. The HOA maintained all common areas. Main paths through the park, shortcuts to bus stops, sidewalks around the pool and clubhouse. No deadline specified, just responsible for maintenance. I cleared only my strict property line. The corner bit? Common area. The path behind my fence that I used to touch up? Not mine. By noon the snow stopped, sun came out, temp stayed low. Wet snow turned to ice. Those main paths became glassy death traps. Next morning, 3 people nearly fell on the main walkway. One guy went down hard on his hip, limped away in pain. My neighbor Ron called. "Mike, those paths are awful. Should we call the HOA?" "Go ahead. See what they say." Ron talked to Margaret. Contractor had mechanical issues. She'd get to it when possible. Annoyed tone. The contractor never showed. Days passed. Paths, ice thicker, uneven, impossible. People avoided them, walked streets instead. Narrow, no sidewalks, cars creeping by. February 9th, a middle school kid, Tyler Brooks, had to use the road. Car came fast around a corner, clipped him with a mirror. Bruises, scraped arm, could have been fatal. His mom, Rebecca Brooks, stormed the HOA office, furious. Why weren't paths cleared? Why kids in the street? Margaret, working on it, contractor soon. They finally appeared February 10th, 5 days late. Ice too hard. They scraped but left bumps. More complaints flooded the HOA Facebook group. Margaret posted, "Unusual weather, contractor issues, doing our best." I knew better. Previous winters, a local guy named Frank cleared everything fast. They'd switched to a cheap Denver outfit to save money. I kept quiet. I tried helping, got fined. Now they could live with it. Another storm, for inches on old ice. I shoveled at 7. Watch more buildup. That afternoon, a woman named Diane fell on the north path. Broken wrist, ambulance, the whole neighborhood watching. Angry residents called an emergency gathering at the community center. 40 people showed. Rebecca spoke first, voice shaking. "My son hurt because paths weren't cleared. Now Diane's in the ER." Margaret defended. Contractor challenges, weather. People pushed. "You hired cheap help. Where's our money going?" Admitted they'd switched for cost savings. Room erupted. Ron asked about procedures for accountability. Bylaws required petition from 30% of owners, about 65 signatures, for no confidence vote. Petitions circulated fast. 93 signatures in 5 days. Margaret tried, delaying the election. Bylaws said within 4 weeks. Set for March 10th. Meanwhile, Diane's lawyer sent intent to sue letter for negligence. Emergency board meeting. Open to owners. 30 attended. Liability insurance had $10,000 deductible. Premiums would spike. Broken wrist could run $15,000 to $20,000. HOA on hook. Contractor fired. Frank rehired at premium rush rates. Paths finally cleared February 20th, 2 weeks late. Election. Landslide. Margaret, Harold, Carol removed. 78% turnout. Highest ever. New board. Rebecca president. Ron vice. A sharp accountant named Laura treasurer. First acts. Revoked snow hour rule. Clear as soon as safe. No loud tools before 7. Refunded my $50 plus dozens of petty fines. Then the audit. Laura found irregularities. $38,000 missing over 2 years. Fake vendors, inflated reimbursements, personal charges. Forensic accountant confirmed. Margaret had pocketed $42,000. Paid her own plow guy with HOA funds, reimbursed shopping and dinners. Police involved. Detective took evidence. Margaret arrested May 2nd. Charges, theft, fraud, embezzlement. Trial September. Jury convicted in hours. Sentenced October 20th. For years prison, restitution, 5 years probation. I watched her let out in cuffs. Mixed feelings, justice, but sad it came to this. New board transformed Evergreen Meadows. Clear communication, transparent finances, reasonable rules. Paths cleared promptly. People friendlier, events well attended. Winter since? I shovel at 5:30 when needed. Frank's crew hits common areas early. No slips, no street walking, no fear. Sometimes I think about Margaret in prison. She built her little empire on control. Find folks for kindness while stealing. Her obsession with that one rule sparked her downfall. If she'd let me shovel early, none of this happens. But she couldn't. Power blinded her. Evergreen Meadows is what it should be now. Safe, fair, neighborly. All because one guy followed the rules exactly and let the cracks show. What do you think? Have you dealt with an overreaching HOA or seen petty rules cause real harm? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, especially on power, injustice, and standing up when things feel wrong. I'd love to hear your side.